Not yet. Now.
Welcome back to Dark Corner's Physical Media Reviews. Of the little clutch of science fiction films made by Hammer and directed by Terrance Fisher in the early 50s, Stolen Face probably gets the most attention because it is the easiest comparison to the more famous later films of company and director.
It's all right, Lily.
The film stars Casablanca's Paul Henreid, one of 2 Hammer films he made while he was blacklisted from major American studios after he joined protests against the House Un-American Activities Committee.
Learn to live with yourself as you are.
Henreid's Philip Ritter is a plastic surgeon who does pro bono work at a prison, making the inmates good looking.
You know, when you two came here 3 years ago and tried to convince me that a physical deformity might cause someone to become unbalanced enough to commit a crime, I thought you were a stark-raving mad.
That was Arnold Ridley, later of Dad's Army, espousing the spurious theory that outward appearance affects behaviour, which incidentally is also used in the universal horror The Raven. On holiday, Ritter meets and falls in love with pianist Alice, played by Lisbeth Scott. With one slight issue.
I'm jealous.
She is engaged to Andre Morel in his first Hammer film. The lovelorn Ritter then alters the features of scarred convict Lily.
Nobody wants someone like me around. Would you?
To look like Alice. And
I've asked Lily to marry me.
making over the Cockney thief into the sophisticated American.
Now, what do you think it should be? Blonde, brunette, or red? I think blonde will be the best.
Inevitably reminding us of Vertigo, though this precedes Hitchcock's film by 6 years. It does, of course, also foreshadow Fisher's own later work, most notably Frankenstein-created Woman.
Yeah, but the face is all right. Now let's see if she can walk.
Another scarred girl made over by an obsessive scientist, forwarding his own agenda without any concern for her well-being.
Why don't you stop trying to make me something I'm not?
Like the four-sided triangle, which we reviewed last year, this is another allegory of controlling men treating women as possessions.
Didn't you ever see something you wanted so bad you just had to have it?
And of the male gaze taken to extremes, ignoring what lies beneath.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yes, but perhaps not for you, Lily.
Lily looks like Alice, but isn't Alice. Real credit to Lisbeth Scott in the dual role, making these very different women, albeit with help from dubbing by Mary Mackenzie, who plays Lily.
I married a fine, upstanding gentleman, didn't I?
Weirdly, I think the dubbing is so much better here than in many later Hammer films, perhaps because it was planned in advance. Terrific cover for this one, very disturbing. I think this is my favourite thus far. Press book. Nice cover for the discs as well. The accompanying booklet. Return of the Hammer Sci-Files. These are always value for money. By the time this is done, we'll all be Hammer experts. And impressively, they so far don't seem to repeat themselves. Usual excellent collection of articles, Neil Sinyard and Kathy Lomax both examining the more questionable side of the film's politics, which does need addressing. Lomax putting it into a larger context. 2 articles by Wayne Kinsey, one in his usual capacity as a Hammer expert, the other looking at the history of plastic surgery in film and drawing on some of his medical experience, as Wayne is a doctor in real life. And there's lots more here. Great stuff. On to the extras. As always, Hammer is knocking it out of the park. 2 commentary tracks, an informative but still light-hearted one from Lucy Bolton and Kathy Lomax, and banter and trivia with Lisbeth Miles and Paul Cornell of the House of Hammer podcast. Both good. Elsewhere, Chris Alexander talks about Lisbeth Scott, which is interesting but basically just talking head. There's Un-American, a great introduction to the Blacklist as a whole by Thomas Doherty, focusing on the fact that in front of the camera for Stolen Face, Paul Henreid was a victim of the Blacklist, but behind it, writer Martin Berkeley had named names to HUAC. Putty in His Hands is a 1980s audio recording of Hammer's make-up man Phil Leakey with new contributions from his son, Absolutely wonderful stuff. And sticking behind the camera, Dressed for Success looks at the career of Edith Head and her work dressing Lisbeth Scott for Stolen Face. Probably the most famous costume designer in film history, but it's always nice for the backstage people to get some credit. Finally, Alexandra Helen Nicholas presents a distinctly British phenomenon, a visual essay looking at films, plays, books, using that idea of a man moulding a common woman into someone more presentable. Pygmalion, Vertigo, Pretty Woman, and so on. And those stories that go one step further into plastic surgery, such as White Fire, which we review next week on regular Dark Corners.
They're taking my whole bloody face off.
Stolen Face's moral is obvious, though the film still doesn't take any chances.
Oh, remember, Phil, beauty's only skin deep.
And I'm not sold on the ending at all. But it is enjoyable and, above all, very well acted. Perhaps what stands in its way is that it is too timid. It's a real-world thriller with one science fiction angle, which makes it seem far-fetched, whereas Frankenstein Created Woman is full-blooded fantasy, so we never question it, which means the message lands better.
Do you really want to know who I am, Johann?
An above-average film, but another stunning package from Hammer.
Can I help you, madam?
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Any thoughts on this one, please let us know in the comments below.